Our next speaker and final speaker is Sean Vernell, who is the Joint National Secretary of Unite the Resistance.
Thank you. Can you first, I just think it's been a brilliant and fascinating discussion. I think it's good to join me in giving and once again congratulating the Uber workers, the Fujitsu, the Durham TAs, the London Metropolitan, the RMT, the NUJ, the Barnet Unison, PCS Wales, and many more haven't spoken today. Give them a round of applause. It's been fantastically important. I think what this meeting and Unite the Resistance tries to do is actually quite unique. Where else is there, unfortunately, I don't know of anywhere, in fact, that brings together so many groups of workers in struggle, swapping ideas and debating and discussing the way forward. And this is really at the heart of what Unite the Resistance is about building solidarity, about building networks, about pulling people together so that we can win and learn off each other. So I think it's been very fantastic and useful today. But I'd like to start really trying. It's a very difficult job now to try and sum up. I'm not going to attempt to do that because there's been too much conversation and discussion here. But one thing I'll start with really is this. Borrowing on a famous Marxist historian, Eric Hobsbawm, he talked about that we live in an age of extremes. And I think it's quite useful starting there. And an age of extremes whereby, to quote another person, a very famous Irish poet called Yeats, that the centre cannot hold. And it clearly hasn't held. When you look to what's taken place in America, when you look to Brexit, when you look to what takes place with Jeremy Corbyn, all the old established political certainties are no longer certain. That is something which is scary, but also exciting, it seems to me. It's scary because when you look at the misogynist, racist piece of filth who's just won the United States election, the president elections, it clearly is a real fear or what could be. And, of course, when you look to France, in a few months' time, there's going to be an election there, a presidential one, and it's very scary. You could win. A Nazi could be the president of France. All clear concerns which we have. So for us, I think, the question, and I think that's what people have been talking about today, from Ian's beginning speech right the way through, how do we, in that situation where there's an age of extremes, where the old political certainties, which for so long have dominated, and now people despise and hate them because of what they have done to people's lives, how do we make sure that it doesn't end up where working people in their frustration and their bitterness and their anger move to the right and look for scapegoats, but instead look for collective solutions, collective results, collective abilities. You see, for me, one of the most interesting contributions was from the TAs. And I've been around too many years, like some of us in this room have been in terms of strikes and struggles and so on. And you forget what it's like when you take strike action. You forget what it's the impact when the first time you've ever taken that essence of collective action, and what sense of power it gives you as an ordinary working person. And when I listened to the Durham TAs, that's what I got. A glimpse of our power, a glimpse of what it is like when you decide as a working person, you draw a line in the sand and you say to your employer, piss off, you're not going to do this to me anymore. That's the essence. You can do it as an individual, but yeah, they're bigger than me, and most people are, to be honest with you, right? And you don't feel good about it, but when you get together as a group of people and you collectively tell the boss to piss off, and here's a line, you're not going to cross it, then you get a sense of what our power could be. And that, I think, and that change, and the confidence that gets there, the ideas that change, we've all been through those, or many of us have been through those kinds of ideas. So I think it's that starting point, it seems to me, is the solution to ensuring that the anger and concerns of ordinary working people do not end up in a situation where they think blaming black people, blaming people who get on a boat in one country, most dangerous situations like migrants, to find what migration defines us, for Christ's sake. That's what we do as human beings. And all of a sudden, they're the problem, they're the issues, they're the concerns. And it's that what we do not want to see. And that's why we need to see more, not less, struggle. What breeds the racist hold over working people is passivity. But when you get activity, that is when you can see that starting to break. When we talk about the era of Corbynism, clearly Corbyn is a reflection of all those. The important about Corbyn, it's not about Corbyn. Corbyn comes out of mass movements. The anti-war movement, the anti-racist movement, the anti-austerity movement. That's what Corbyn reflects. And can I just say this as well? I'm not in the Labour Party, but let's be absolutely clear. All those traitors in the Labour Party who, when we lost Brexit, when Brexit happened, when that election took place, and when you saw the Tories in a complete and utter mess, well, you remember it, literally day after, nobody could find Osborne for 5 days. He disappeared somewhere. In that situation, it's an utter betrayal of the working class movement to turn round and blame Jeremy Corbyn rather than attacking the Tories. The Labour and trade union movement must never forget and must never, ever forgive those people who did that. Let's be absolutely clear. There's no room for these people in the movement. That's why I agree with our colleague from the RNT. I'm for unity inside the working class. Absolutely unity from top to bottom. I am not for unity for people who want to put me in the grave. And that's what these people want to do to Corbyn and now John McDonnell as well. So there could be no quarter there. But I think we have to then move on to seeing how we can go forward in relation to things. We're saying that struggle is important. We say that organising resistance is crucial. Building those networks of solidarity in every workplace. But of course, when you look to Durham, it is not enough when we have one strike here or two strikes there. We need a national action. And people are right to say the trade union leaders, in most of the national TUC, have hardly covered themselves in glory over the last 4 to 5 years. There have been moments again and again when our side are prepared to fight and will fight, and they have run away from that fight. So we do need to take that argument. We do need to put those pressure onto our trade union leaders to ensure that they take that fight seriously. So the argument for national action is something that's a central debate, a central part of what we need to do. The demonstration coming up on Saturday, organised by the National Union of Students and the UCU, my union, University College Union, is about the defence of working class education. We want it to be a demonstration which defends from cradle to the grave education. So it's not just an education demonstration. So please, all of us here today, bring your trade union banners along. Finally, of course, anti-racism. There's an anti-racist conference for trade unionists on the 4th of February. We would like to see everybody in this room bring 2 or 3 individuals from their workplaces to that conference so we can make sure that we have the fight of austerity on the one hand, the conditions that give birth to or potential birth to the racists and so on, but we also need to confront the racists themselves. That's why that conference on the 4th of February is going to be central.